afternoon, hopefully. And yeah, it's very nice to be around. Going around between all these watering holes around Africa, seeing what animals are out and about this fine afternoon. And my name is Andrew. I'm going to be taking care of you again for the next 2 hours while we monitor some of these watering holes around around Africa. I'm not controlling the controls. That'll be our zoomies, so welcome to them as well. And then Chulu, who's going to be directing this afternoon, selecting where we go. So looking forward to that. Remember, everybody, this is supposed to be fun and interactive. So if you'd like to send questions and comments, please do so. And you can do so by registering yourself on the website. You can also chat via YouTube on the chat there. That's going to be at FC before your message, and then Twitter using hashtag. And then also don't forget the WhatsApp number as well. You can watch on the website, but also you can also watch on the Wild Earth app if you're interested in that. All right, good stuff, everybody. Let's get going with the day and see what we're gonna see. So first and foremost, we are in South Africa. This is Madikwe Game Reserve. And this is situated in the Northwest Province. Lovely area of South Africa. I'm just watching this elephant bull here walking along. Obviously, the one thing stands out there. He's got a massive growth just above that joint on his front leg there. Wow, this is a tremendously old bull that we're looking at here. Okay, we can tell this is a fair sized or a fair aged bull. Firstly, just look at the condition of his tusks there. Looks like it's broken and shattered on the side there, and the tops of his skull being quite indented. And that comes with age. The skull does change with age. Alright, seems like it's quite warm. Which hopefully means that the animals are going to be thirsty, which means hopefully we're going to see a lot of them. There's some general things out and about, some crocodiles and so on. But let's go and take a look at Nkoro. Let's go and see what's happening on that camera for now. We can always come back here to these crocodiles. Alright, so Nkoro up in the Sabi sand. Well, it depends where you are in the country. For me, it's going to be up to the Sabi sand or towards, and then we can always go back to those crocodiles that we saw earlier on. But I don't think this giraffe is going to stick around here for too long before moving off after having a drink. Drive Bunny, thank you for that, and it's good to hear that you have a young lad there watching with you, 5 years old. That's fantastic. What better way to spend the next couple of hours, just watching nature. Sometimes it's not easy to get to Africa, via flights and all of those things that come with it, financials and so on. But it doesn't mean that you can't spend some time in nature. So this will definitely do the trick this afternoon. Okay, just looking at this waterhole, it's a nice, it's quite a steeply sort of cut waterhole if you look at the sides of the edges there. So it's probably quite a deep waterhole. Not deep as in submergible for the giraffe, just maybe a meter or so. Fair amounts of water. Marco Casas, thank you for your greeting, and yeah, straight back at you this afternoon. Welcome, and thanks for joining. Right, not too much happening at this waterhole over here in Goro. Let's go back to Tau, see if those crocodiles are still around there. Alright, the crocodiles just basking themselves on the bank there. They seem to be regulars here live at the waterhole, spending most of their time while we here observing out on the banks. It's nice to see them like this, because most of the time, let's face it, most of the time we just see the nose and the eyes sticking out the water. But in a situation like this, we can really take a look at them quite in depth, look at their parts, their tail, their mouth, all those things that we sure fear in the river. David, you're hoping for ostrich today? Well, we had one yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, could have been the day before, but I can't remember. So yeah, let's look out for ostrich today. So while we're watching this crocodile and while we're talking about the ostrich, we can sort of link the two together. And we can talk about the folklore on how an ostrich got such an elongated neck. Right, so the folklore about ostrich and their long neck goes back to Bushman times, where the story goes that the ostrich went to the water to take a drink of water, and all the other animals, they warned the ostrich about the crocodile, but the ostrich didn't really pay too much attention to it. The ostrich thought, I'm going to be able to see the crocodile. I've got brilliant eyes, so I should be good. And so the ostrich went to the water and didn't pay too much attention until that day came where the crocodile ambushed and struck out and managed to grab the ostrich's head. And the ostrich pulled and pulled and pulled and pulled so much because its legs were still on the land that it managed to eventually break free. And apart from the head being a little bit scratched, the ostrich noticed that, hey, my neck is incredibly long now. Okay, looking at these crocodiles, they're definitely well fed. That one on the sort of the top side there, it's reasonably large in the belly there, extremely well fed it seems. But crocodiles of this size, they don't get this big from not eating machines. Okay, Sim, yeah, the one crocodile is a bit lighter than the other, but yeah, you do get variations. Not all crocodiles are going to have the same coloring. Some of them are a little bit lighter, others are a little bit more greener, some of them are a bit more darker. Yeah, so lots of variations, but some animals that don't really have those variations are animals like impala. When you look at the antelopes in general, they all look pretty uniform, don't they?
What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Step into the heart of Africa from the comfort of your home.
Female leopard tracks over here.
Join our expert guides for a live 3-hour safari where every moment is real, unscripted, and unforgettable. Ask questions,
Animals rely on their senses.
share your thoughts, and be part of the experience as we explore together. Safari Live.
How cool is this?
Right, so looking at the lack of ripples in the water, I think this giraffe has just arrived here. And just making sure that the coast is clear before drinking. Because let's face it, giraffe bulls are solitary for most of their mature existence. And they're just going to make sure that that coast is clear. Because when it goes down to drink, or when he goes down to drink, that is probably the most vulnerable position that giraffe could ever be in. It's dangerous to go into that position. The predators, if they're close and they make a move, giraffes can actually stumble trying to get up, and then there's a big problem. The water is right there, so it's probably going to launch itself into the water. Okay, the one feature that stands out by far the most here with this giraffe bull is the incredible size of the chest and the base of the neck. It is ginormous. So this is a very tough bull, very strong, muscular. and I'm sure has won many a battles up until this day. Very good view, very nice view of this giraffe. It's always nice just to have a look at what the giraffe is potentially seeing, because sometimes the animals like predators come and drink on the other side, and a giraffe will just stop and stare and watch it drink. Right, let's head off to El Doño quickly. I believe there's some more giraffes there. Okay, so from Etosha to Kenya, yeah, this giraffe is busy walking away. Also a nice bull with some zebras just beyond. And classic, and I love the word quintessential, umbrella thorns growing around there as well. Yeah, it doesn't take long for another bull to join the scene, but they're also staring at something. That front giraffe has definitely got its eyes fixed on something, and it seems like another bull is curious as to know what has been spotted out there. Yeah, it's a very classic scene that we're looking at. As I've mentioned, the giraffes, the zebras, and then the beautiful shape of the canopy of this umbrella thorn growing in the background. This is when you think of Africa, when you think of these spectacular trees and scenes. Penelope, good afternoon. Yeah, you're saying just a brief glimpse of snow on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. That's a wonder, that mountain. It's amazing if you've ever seen it for yourself. Mount Kilimanjaro. You hear about these massive mountains, but when you see it for yourself, oh man, and to think that it's, how do I say this, that it's, we can access it. I mean, these some of these features that we find on Earth are just, it's mind-blowing. And you read about some of the geology based around Mount Kilimanjaro, with the tectonic plates shifting, which must have caused massive earthquakes, and then not mountains, the volcanoes starting to erupt, and then after that forming the aftermath of some of that geology It's just amazing. And then all that ash that would have solidified as well during some of the eruptions in Mount Kilimanjaro. Look at that, everybody. That is just a spectacular sight. Thank you, Penelope, for pointing that one out. Yeah, I would have missed it. We'll just see if we can focus a little bit better. It's a little bit tricky, but there she is, everybody. Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah, thank you to the Zoomies for just following what I was saying and getting us to this beautiful mountain. Yeah, this is a sight for sore eyes. It's about 6 kilometers high, the mountain, and in order for you to do trails up those mountains, you can do 7-day hikes, 8-day hikes, and so on. There's also porters that are available who are almost experts on this mountain. These guys, they do not get altitude sickness whatsoever. They'll carry your luggage up, and you can just enjoy just a good walk up the mountain. The trick is not to do it too quickly, because once that altitude sickness kicks in, it's basically the end of the walk for you, and you'll slowly have to come back down unless you're able to get oxygen, which most of these places that offer these experiences where they take you up the mountain will provide, is backup oxygen. David, afternoon. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a bit of a trouble there. So yeah, there's a place by you that sells life-size sculptures, but your wife says that she doesn't want one. Now, David, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't blame your wife. I've bought a fair amount of those items, and when they fall, they break. So just be careful on that one. Right, we're going to go back to Nkuma, but lovely view of this beautiful mountain. Let's go watch some giraffes drinking. Right, this giraffe bull just finished drinking water now, but it'll drink again. Kim, hello to you. Yeah, giraffes are careful and very cautious. I think the best 3 ways to describe a giraffe is curious, careful, and cautious. Yeah, a bull like this is going to have tremendously eyesight and also a lot to live for. So, in the world of nature, if you get complacent just for a moment, that can lead to predators catching you. So a bull like him is very wise into the fact that he's going to take his time drinking water. No rush. As you can.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing, and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations, and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Vultures in the next few minutes, 5 minutes to be exact. So I think if we can, let's stick around, let's watch that, and then we can watch them feed, and we can watch how they squabble over the feed as well. Right, why are these vulture restaurants necessary? It's not just to attract vultures so people can see them. That's not the whole aim. The idea is to attract them, keep them healthy, because let's face it, the population of vultures, they're in trouble. We just heard recently of massive poisonings happening in South Africa of vultures for muti trade and so on. Muti being the traditional medicines. So to be able to learn about them, get them all together, keep them healthy, and document behavior. Now, when you think of some of the traditional medicine, the mutis that we call it, the muti trade when it comes to certain wildlife, there's also a marabou stork there that just flew in. But the vulture is actually a highly prized item on the muti trade, because we have traditional sangomas who are people that are almost like shamans. They're able to tell your future, to tell your past and things like that by throwing the bones onto a mat. Now I have a little jar, a traditional jar that they keep certain items and shells and things, and they will shake this jar and then throw the items on a mat, but they can't touch those items with their hands. They've got to use a vulture bone. The vulture bone sorts through all of the contents that's been laid out on the mat, and through that they decipher someone's fortune and their omen, their spirit, and so on and so on. There's so many things that go into it. There's also a few body parts of vultures that are consumed by people, believing that they can inherit the wisdom of vultures, because they're believed to be highly animals with a lot of wisdom, deriving from sort of their behavior when predators make a kill. That the vulture, they always seem to figure out where the kill is and wait, and it's believed that they have premonitions, that they've got special powers, and they can tell the future where the lion, where the leopard is going to catch things and try and hide it. And that's where this belief comes in, that they can inherit the wisdom of a vulture. Right, Sandy Franklin, that's a marabou stork. That's on the bottom, bottom right on the screen there, marabou stork. Yeah, and you often see them, and they make wonderful indicators for nature guides and safari guides when they're guiding guests, and they've got if you think of the greater scheme of things, a very short stay in Africa, 2-3 nights at a place. Time is of the essence, and guides need to provide sightings fast, and so they learn certain tricks and certain signs and indicators that there are things nearby, and there's so many. But the one is vultures and marabou storks, that if you see them together soaring or perching, then you stop and you investigate, because there's something dead nearby. And if they're all in the tree, that usually means that the predators are still with whatever is dead nearby. Tina, I'm not sure how often they get fed. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that. Okay, thanks, Chulu. Chulu, our director, says yes, so he confirms it's every day around 1, just after 1. And these vultures are working on clockwork here. That they know what time it is, even though they, like I said, animals don't wear wristwatches. They can still tell when it's time. Right, Laura, afternoon to you. Okay, so we're talking about oxpeckers now. So which other birds do the same job, same work that oxpeckers do? Is that in the sense of removing ticks off animals? Yeah, it's mainly the oxpeckers that specialize in this, and they specialize in various special ways to do this. Every now and then you see starlings picking ticks off animals, not very frequently. They rather just follow the animals for disturbed insects rather than plucking off ticks. There's actually a case of an Indian starling, which for a very long time in South Africa is called an Indian miner, where it was observed picking ticks off cows. Not sure when or where. But oxpeckers, they're sort of in a league of their own with these special adaptations that they have for removing ticks. Jackie, you don't often hear of it. I don't think I've ever heard of vultures hunting on their own and catching their own prey, but you can't rule that out. I'm sure they do. Animals that are on their last legs, they'll finish them off and things like that. And being opportunistic, maybe catching something every now and then, I'm sure they do, but I've never read it, I've never seen it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Right, so I think the enthusiasm from these vultures tells us a lot about what's happening around about now. I think they're probably feeding them right now. Yeah, so some of them are eating, so they're obviously being fed right now. But something that can really be observed closely here, and this would be an ideal scenario for it, is to watch the coexisting behavior between the different species of vultures and potentially eagles. Wouldn't surprise me if tawny eagles come here. Also the storks, the marabou storks, etc. Lady Macbeth, I think instead of lunch is coming, that lunch has arrived. Reminds you of, I never went to boarding school, but I did see parts of it. It's that time, it's that time. The scholars are hungry. Yeah, it's fascinating to watch this view up here, the sky camera, because it's just a really top sort of angle here, because now we can actually see how much taller the marabou storks are opposed to these vultures here. There's so many vultures here, it almost reminds me of a scene with all these pigeons that get fed on the beach. It's actually quite fascinating to watch these marabou storks here. Okay, now they're sort of more concentrated onto one area, but at one stage they were all evenly spread out, giving them a much better chance of getting food and more of it, opposed to all trying to get food from the same place. Those marabou storks are just walking over these vultures. Yeah, engineer, these stalks are rather tall. I'm just watching the one on the top right there, and there's obviously some sort of method to the madness behind the strategy on how these stalks walk around. Very tall. Julian Thomas, thanks for that heads up. You're hoping to see the Cape vulture here. Yeah, I would love to as well. Yeah, those are vultures that are just not seen enough, are they? It's glad to hear that at least one has been seen on this camera by yourself. Yeah, we'll look out for them.
Katika mwanga wa mwezi kivuli hutembea, mrembo mweusi anayepotea, macho yake ni taa, gizani huwa fufula msitu malkia anayejificha.
Wild Earth has launched a special fundraising drive for our non-profit, the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. We're raising funds to source, create, and showcase thousands of untold stories. Stories that spark real action in conservation and social impact. Visit our website to donate and explore how you can become a founding donor.
Alright, Cape Town, or almost Betty's Bay, the Western Cape. And there's at least two of these young chicks in the inside of this very shallow cave here. Well, it's very sad to hear of the colonies of the African penguins declining in the rate that they are at the moment, and the sole reason for it, as it normally is it's humans being the problem. Litter and oil spills, overfishing the oceans, they are directly affecting these very precious animals. But needless to say, with the conservation of the certain species, it really does help a lot. And yeah, they in 2021 that 1,600 breeding pairs were documented. So that's obviously very promising news. Joanne Miller, you like this Stony Point? I also enjoy it. It's different. I'm not a marine guide, unfortunately, although part of my qualifications, our association that they offer is a marine guiding side to it. Many South African field guides are also marine guides. So yeah, I definitely take my hat off to them. I haven't done it myself, but it's nice to mix a bit of both worlds, a little bit of ocean, a little bit of bushveld. Oh, very cute. So still developing strength in the muscles there. Captain, I would hope so. if I was a young infant such as this one, I would also spend most of my time outside the water. And that's from a human's perspective, but from a penguin's perspective, it's what they know. It's what they're built for. But yeah, growing up, I'm sure they'll spend lots of time out of the water. Water can be a scary place, even for a penguin. Lots of threats, lots of elements to take in consideration, currents and all of that. Joanna, yeah, wing flapping is very cute with birds. It does take on that feel that it's quite adorable to watch them do it. But yeah, they do it for a few reasons. You know, when adult birds do it, it's a way of getting attention. But then young birds such as this one, just practice, developing those wings, stretching them out a bit, practicing before the day comes where it's going to be the big jump. Then also sometimes begging for food. And some of you will be able to relate to this when you have birds nesting in your garden and you see these young chicks flapping their wings, making a little bit of noise, begging for food. Right, so this African penguin gone back inside. And we're going to go to the Hoedspruit Endangered Species Center, see what's happening on that side, see if those cheetah cubs are out yet. Alright, so here we are, Hoedspruit Endangered Species Center out in the Hoedspruit area. It's part of the Lowveld, so very, very hot in the summer, very mild in the winter. And these young cheetah cubs are, I think, enjoying this little patch of open grass here. Okay, so these cubs have just passed 6 weeks. About 3 days ago they were on their 6 weeks. So at this stage of their life, still very curious, still very much dependent on mom. Captain, it's always wonderful to see such sights, such young cubs, especially with cheetah. Yeah, I know, it's, for someone that's spent years in the bush, not as many years as some people though, but I like to think of myself as someone who's been in the bush for some time now. Now, these are animals that you don't see in the wild very easily. In 20 years, I've maybe seen them in the wild maybe 3 times. And the youngest being recently at Amakala Game Reserve with Morgan. Yeah, we saw cubs that were about 5 weeks old. And that was for the first time for Wild Earth as well. So yeah, make no mistake, when Morgan and I do return back to that land, that which will be on the 23rd of this month, by the way. We're going to be paying special attention to trying to find cheetah cubs. They're more or less the same age as the ones that you're seeing now. Erica Oldno, welcome aboard. Glad to hear that you've hopped on. Okay, yeah, you got a nice warm cup of tea. Make yourself comfortable, put your feet up. Yeah, let's learn together about nature.
Now this leopard that we're looking at is known by the name of Hlalamba.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature. Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We'll be
And you pretend like you're a citizen, eh?
Got no idea what's going on this reserve. Expecting the unexpected.
Are we stuck down there?
What am I trying to do?
So we have another giant of Mabula.
That was incredible.
This is unbelievable.
It's going to be a spectacular afternoon.
Because the more they overfeed them, then the more food that they're gonna need. They're gonna grow faster, etc. And they can. It's already really difficult for some of these places to feed. They obviously got plans, but food is precious. Not to say that they're starving. I mean, obviously they're not, because we can see that they're wonderful condition. But the food that they have is precious, and the more they feed them, I'm sure the more they're going to have to feed them in the future. So they keep them at a good diet, a good optimum diet. In the wild, I mean, everything in captivity, as we know, generally lives longer and grows bigger. But I don't know. I think there's also variables on how often they're eating in the wild and so on. These cubs are very small, and the cubs roughly, but they're a week apart, more or less. The ones that are Makala are also very small, so I don't see too much size difference between the two, not at this stage at least. Right, everybody, we're back in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve up in the low veld of South Africa at Nkoro. Right, lots of animals here this afternoon. Right, number of giraffe just lining up, getting into the queue to drink water. It's always nice to watch the reflections in the water, and giraffe makes a really nice reflection. Right, while these giraffes are just having a drink, let's just look around. Some awesome weather, nice clouds forming there. There's some blue wildebeest. And they're seeming to have having a good time there in the corner of the bush there. Okay, very dry, isn't it? This is the winter time now. Things will green up again in summer, but the winter is looking fairly dry this year. Wildlife lady, yeah, this is the only queue that's a good queue, and that's giraffes lining up to drink. Yeah. Any animal coming up to drink, yeah, that's always a welcome queue, but any other queue usually isn't that pleasant. It's always quite an interesting one, and for any guides that are watching right now, they'll be able to relate to what I'm saying very much. Right, the one thing that it's always interesting to watch is when you watch these people that work in the bush, guides or trackers, anti-poaching people, whatever it is, but the people that are actually working in the bush, and they spend years of their lives in the bush. There's no queues, there's no big crowds of people, there's no hustle and bustle of the city, and then comes a time when it's the end of your what we call a cycle or a stint, and you go home, and then you have to be around these things that you're not used to, the crowds, the queues. It gets incredibly frustrating, and sometimes, and it's happened to me a few times, where you walk to or you drive up to a shopping center, you're about to lock your door and you look up and you just see there's so many people here today, no thanks, and you get back in your car and you drive back. There's a certain way of life in the bush. Yeah, so from seeing giraffe in different areas this afternoon so far, one thing doesn't change, and that is how cautious they are. Just watch the behavior of these giraffes. They are fully aware of everything that is walking around here. There could be things out there that we don't even know are there because we can't see with the camera. There could be steenboks, there could be warthogs walking around, there could be small little groups of mongoose busy foraging around. Giraffes, they all see all of this. A wonderful eyesight, and they've got a brilliant perspective being so high. And just a good eye for spotting what doesn't seem right. Yeah, it's also quite smart of these wildebeest. They come into the water now to drink. To take a drink while the giraffes are still present is always going to be a very smart thing to do, because those giraffes will spot something. Yeah, animals, they find the most ingenious, clever ways of just helping to contribute to their survival every single minute of every single day. And it's quite fascinating, when you look at a scene like this with all these animals here, being in such a wild system in the Sabi Sand with predation on very high levels. Not all of these, for example, these wildebeest that you're seeing now, come 6 months from now will even be alive. Some of them, a lot of them, would have been caught by predators. Some of them would have given birth. Some of them will still be surviving. Just the way nature works. If there's any inkling that you are weak, that there's something not quite right with you, predation happens. It's genetic cleanup, predation. Think of it as cleaning up the genetics of the animals, making sure that the strong survive, always, no exception. Yeah, it seems these wildebeest are not too perturbed by standing right next to the water's edge. I'm sure they figured out that there's probably no crocodiles in this water. But make no mistake, within the Sabi Sand Game Reserve, or Nature Reserve, there is crocodiles. So I think the animals sort of figure out where the crocodiles are, more likely. But that's never a guarantee in nature that the crocodile isn't there. And there's some wonderful footage. There's more now footage. I don't know what's happening. Maybe that I've missed the previous one over the years, or previous ones over the years. But there's a lot more footage in the last, say, 2 years of people taking videos of crocodiles walking on land very far from the water, migrating between water sources. So maybe there's no crocodile today, but tomorrow that can change. Kevin, thanks for your question. No, according to genetics, it's not a good idea to mix blue and black wildebeest together. Now they interbreed. And when you look at the geographic distribution of wildlife, you know, they're distributed in different areas for a reason, naturally, for a reason, so they can avoid inbreeding or counterbreeding, crossbreeding. And wildebeest, black and blue, they can breed together, and then you have a different animal being born. So when you have a natural system like this, it's important that you keep the species strong in its true nature, not mixed or a hybrid. But Kevin, when we look at the distribution of black wildebeest, these are blue wildebeest, very common within Africa. They even stretch into East Africa. It's a very common animal. The black wildebeest naturally only occurred in these areas in the Eastern Cape, where the blue wildebeest never went so far south. They never migrated those areas. So naturally they would have avoided each other. And then, you know, game reserves that have, you know, got fences around them, you know, they've got to think about what species are inside those reserves. And it's not really a good idea to mix certain species together, because they will interbreed and they can't really move away from each other. So I think with conservation and introducing species into areas, I think there's a law that has to be abided by, that there is restrictions as to what you can migrate where or what you can move where. There has to be such things. Right, I've always loved the name Nkoro. Nkoro, the word, is actually from the sound that a yellow-billed hornbill makes. Not sure if any of you have heard it, but you hear this kok, 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 kok. And in the Shangans, they describe the call being Nkoro. And so the southern yellow-billed hornbill gets the Shangan name Nkoro. It's been wonderful watching these wildebeest on what seems to be a nice warm day in the Sabi Sand Nature Reserve. But let's go off to Botswana. Let's go to that one of those cameras and see what's happening there. Right, so here we are at Elephant Pan, Botswana. Watching this medium-sized elephant bull just having a little bit of a drink here. And just looking at the canopies of the trees in the background, it seems like, yeah, a fair amount of elephants come through here. Just by the shapes of some of these trees. Not very tall. The amount of footprints as well. Yeah, it's always no surprise to watch elephants drinking from these little concrete inlets. And you see this all over the show, different parts of Africa. The same thing remains the same, that elephants like fresh water. Right, we're going to go to Aldonia quickly. I believe something's happening there. Alright, thanks very much to our director this afternoon. This is very well chosen. 2 big elephant bulls. Looks like they're just coming for a drink.
Join me, Danielle Carstens, in Mashatu, Botswana's land of giants. With over 1,000 elephants, leopards in nyala berry trees, and exclusive access to photographic hides, this is a wildlife photographer's paradise. I'll be there photo guiding you throughout, providing hands-on training and tips. Let's capture striking images together in one of Africa's most rewarding reserves. I would love for you to join me.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing.
Incredible.
Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. The best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
With a lot to teach. But eventually, because these younger bulls will sometimes play spar with the older bull. It also teaches them how to spar and so on and so on. But eventually, these bulls, they start to become bigger eventually with years and a bit more mature. But eventually they're going to start to challenge this big bull who's been their mentor. And because these younger bulls are usually very inexperienced, they usually get the hidings of their lifetime or hiding of their lifetime. And that's sort of what it looks like. There's always something going to be peaceful about listening to animals make sounds, whether it's actual sounds that they're making or whether they're drinking water or walking. I don't know. Sometimes I often need to ask myself, is talking going to add value or is it going to take value away? So in these moments I like to keep a little bit quiet and allow the less is more theory to take place. But Barry, to answer your question with regards to a dominant male elephant from a bachelor herd, when they leave, do they leave the other elephants behind? Most definitely. So when that bull goes into must, that dominant bull from that bachelor group goes into must. Now, no, eventually he's going to leave them because now he's not worried about his job to be a mentor. He's worried about his job to mate now, and so that doesn't last very long. And then that bull goes out of must. Different elephants takes different times. Must is still being researched properly. There's a lot to the testosterone pheromone release in elephants that we still need to discover. But when they go into must, the bulls will be, the sole focus is to mate. Then these younger bulls, they can also go into must. It's the adult bull that will teach them not to go into must early. Because, when you go into must, it comes with a few responsibilities. And young bull elephants, when they go into must, their testosterone release will always be a lot higher than a stable bull. And they can cause a lot of problems. They can upset herds. They can cause a lot of troubles with other elephants. They can challenge vehicles. They can challenge people. And these older bulls teach them, no, this is not the way. This is not the way you're meant to do it. You need to balance it out. Right, Spas, wonderful to receive a comment from you. I'm glad to hear that elephants make your day. Well, if that's the case, then you definitely come to the right place. With all these cameras all over different parts of Africa, most cameras we see elephants. So think about everything that we see on these cameras is 100% live, and what we are seeing now, somewhere in Africa, these elephants are busy drinking water. I just think the idea behind these cameras is really clever, because you can see things that are happening at that specific time. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of a delay sometimes, not much, give or take. What you are seeing now is what they are doing now. And it's actually a privilege to be able to have this technology and to be able to document nature for as long as we're able to, as long as we can. Because back in the day, to get footage like this, you had to have people out there with cameras pointing that camera at the right place at the right time, and so on and so on. But now we can just leave it running and let the scenes happen and change as they do.
This is an unbelievable afternoon.
This is what they call a shambi, a family, a whole herd of elephants.
But nature is beyond amazing. Nature is just everything.
We'd love to hear from you. Questions, comments about biology, Africa, safari.
She's using her tail like a monkey.
I don't think so. I think these elephant bulls will know that this female, she's not good to mate with. She's not receptive, for example, because we don't understand pheromones as humans. We can't smell it, we can't sense it. I suppose we can sense it to a degree, but we're not consciously aware of it. Whereas the wildlife, they're consciously aware of pheromones and what it means. Yeah, I must say this Aldonio camera is probably one of my favorites. I think I'm a little bit biased because I've spent some time recently in East Africa, and oh my goodness that I fall in love with that place. But I mean, we're all allowed to have our little quirks and charms when it comes to favorite things. Wildlife lady, yeah, these elephant bulls are magnificent. The scene is magnificent. Sarah, you from the UK? Yeah, these bulls are very calm in nature this afternoon. They're obviously part of the same bachelor group. They're not pushing each other. They're not. They're just being very civilized this afternoon. I think there's the fact that they're part of probably the same bachelor herd. They don't seem to be in any rush right now. They're going to just spend a little bit of time there. They're probably going to stand at the watering hole after drinking. Probably take another drink after that. And then move off into the bush. It's no particular place to be this afternoon. No rush in Africa. There's two bulls sort of resting there now. I think I'll probably find a place in the shade and have a nap. This is going to be the hottest part of the day there, close to. But before they do that, some of these bulls need to go find themselves something to scratch up against. They've got their bodies covered in mud. Now they need to find a place to scratch that mud off. Thanks, K9 Girl. Yeah, I know. When myself and Morgan, actually, that was the last stint. We've done 2 stints back to back together, as you all know. The first stint, we had wonderful elephant encounters, wonderful elephant walk-bys. And then we went on our holiday, we went back, and the whole stint, which lasted about, how long? It was like 16 days or something, just over 2 weeks. Never saw one herd. We saw the herd once, but that was during a virtual safari. And we saw a couple of bulls every now and then, but nothing like the last time. So you're right. Just to see these elephant bulls all hanging around this waterhole, not doing anything major, makes me feel like I didn't miss out. So thank you for that. Now we look forward to seeing what the new stint is going to show us. Yeah, we've got 3 weeks coming up. We start on the 23rd of this month. And myself and Morgan, we're going to spend a lot of time looking for cheetah cubs. And then other types of smaller wildlife that we just don't spend enough time looking for, like caracal and porcupine and things like that. Myself and Morgan, we saw a porcupine that was about 9 months to a year old, just after the show had already finished on the Sunset Safari. Yeah, we were a little bit upset about that, but we enjoyed just sitting there watching this young porcupine just hop over the bushes right next to the road. Yeah, you don't really see young porcupine. You see adults, but not those young ones. Alright, so we're at Founders here in the Eastern Cape province, not very far from where I am now. And we've got this young rhino calf busy drinking from the mother. So let's stick around and watch.
I feel it is a rosetted morning for us. So yes, let's see what we can find.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change. Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities, the Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
Right, we saw this rhino bull yesterday. Yeah, he seems to frequent around here. It seems like he's also been in a fight. If you look just under his armpit, got a little bit of scar tissue there that's healed over. So at one stage he had a horn go right into him. Right, Hannah, I know we're on the rhino bull at the moment, but I just want to talk about your question. I'm just watching this rhino bull scratching his bum. It's always comical to watch that. But Hannah, yeah, sable antelope are considered native to the Eastern Cape, but the numbers were never that great. So I think sable numbers have never been great to begin with. Well, to begin with, their numbers were good, but the overhunting of the species gave them a big decline. So yeah, they've become quite protected now, and yeah, to be able to hunt sables, you need to pay a lot of money to do such a thing. So their numbers have gotten a lot better, but geographically and naturally, yeah, there were pockets of sable antelope native to the Eastern Cape province. It's quite a nice little waterhole here with some of these boulders. Just the colour of the earth as well being quite red. Oh, just in time for this rhino bull to tiptoe his way down. Just a wonderful scene here. Let's watch them and enjoy this. Two very decent sized rhino bulls here. So it's always wonderful to see the white rhinos in the wild, considering some of the problems that they're facing. Right, Mayesh from South Africa, you're also enjoying the outstanding soil. Yeah, it's very red, hey? Not all of the Eastern Cape is red soil. Some of it is yellow soil, but this is very iron-rich area over here. Oh, this rhino is about to do its business in the water. We'll just watch. I'll give that rhino a little bit of privacy. This rhino is looking at the other rhino saying, really? Now of all times? And he's like, yeah, why not? This is Africa. Yeah, almost a moment where this rhino bull is watching the weekend approaching. Looking forward to that upcoming weekend. Just a few more hours to go. Canine Girl, yeah, good to hear that you're enjoying this camera. Yeah, there's, I've only seen this camera now. This is my second or third time. Can't remember to be exact, but there always seems to be something happening at this waterhole, which is wonderful. What better place to have a camera than by the place where animals need life? That's via water. Without water, there's nothing. Put the camera by the water and surely something is going to be seen. There was a very interesting photograph that was taken from a camera that was placed by a dam somewhere in South Africa. I don't know where. But of all the millions and millions of photographs that this camera took, one night it took a very special photograph, and this was of an aardvark that came to the water and actually began to drink water. That's something you don't hear of, aardvark going to waterholes. You don't find their tracks going to the dams. You don't see them drinking. You've never heard of other people seeing it, and you don't read about it. It's just very rare for them to go to the water and drink. But on this particular camera, they saw it. And at that stage, it was thought that they don't go to the water at all, that they don't need it, that they're independent of the water. They get it all from the termites that they're eating.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
South Africa's wild places are closer than you think, because Federal Airlines brings them to you. From the calm of our FedAir lounge to the smooth boarding of our trusted fleet, we take care of the journey so you can enjoy the adventure. Our flights go beyond the ordinary, connecting you to South Africa's most remote and extraordinary locations. Federal Airlines, your gateway to the South African wild.
My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. I grew up mostly here in the Lowveld. I grew up here pretty much on the southern side of Kruger National Park, a place called Marloth Park, for most of my years. Something surprising about myself, I did play drums in a band for many years. Best sighting I presented, we found Columba and the 2 cubs, and the cubs are just way big.
Hyenas love bathing.
Floppy ear there. Now we'll look out for him in the future. these elephants seem to be particularly thirsty this afternoon. We often hear about the amount of water elephants drink. But yeah, it's just one of those animals that when you do find them drinking, it's always a special time. I don't think there's any other wildlife that sort of gives off that same energy when you watch them drinking as elephants when they drink. Anita, yeah, these elephant bulls, they're going to range a little bit. I would say that they are probably about between 30 and 35 years old, around about there. Yeah, we're slowly but surely heading towards the end now. We've got some few minutes to spare, but yeah, I was just looking at these elephant bulls, and yeah, it's been so nice to just spend some time with these bulls and just watch them without them knowing that we're watching them. They obviously know that a camera is watching them, but they don't know that we're watching them. Sarah from the UK, yeah, I've been watching these butterflies as well. Yeah, unfortunately my screen is not clear enough to tell what they are. And I think, yeah, just to tell what butterflies are by watching them fly on the screen is going to be tremendously difficult. But it complements the scene. It's just a hive of activity here. Of course, we have these big, great, ginormous mammals. But if you look closely, there's always going to be other things. And butterflies, I think they complement any scene. Those two elephant bulls on the far left, they're actually fast asleep there. If you notice, they do flick their ears every now and then and open their eyes a little bit, but for the most part, their eyes are closed. They're sleeping. Just hear some zebras in the background barking. Alright everybody, we're sort of heading towards the end now with roughly about a minute left. So that means I need to begin saying goodbye to you all. But it's really been real. It's been a lot of fun. Not enough time though to spend with all of you. But the back of my mind, I know that I'm going to be with you tomorrow. I'm going to be with you the next day. And then Ben will take over from me. So yeah, we've got some time left tomorrow and the next day. And we'll see what nature's going to offer us. Today it's been good. Nature's offered us so many different things to look at. It's been fun. Thanks for all the questions and all the comments. And we'll see you tomorrow. Other than that, have a lovely sunset safari and a wonderful day further. Cheers everybody.
Welcome to Safari Spotlight. We're heading out on a journey of natural discovery through some of South Africa's most beautiful and wilderness areas. The Greater Kruger, the Albany district of the Eastern Cape, and the mystical Waterberg. Each location has its own unique sense of place. Each offers something different and all give a sense of peace and wonder. If you like what you see on Safari Spotlight, you can visit these special wild places by visiting Wild Earth Travel. We'll create your dream safari.